This video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. This might look like a regular copy of Pokemon Emerald, but it has one key difference compared to regular copies. In this version of Pokemon Emerald, whenever we go for an attack, our Pokemon have a 1 in 10 chance of just randomly exploding instead. This probably won't go over too well and could easily blow up in our faces. With that cringy joke out of the way, here's the cringy analytic reminder that reminds you to leave a like and subscribe to help the channel grow, and allows me to do more dumb things like this video, so roll the thing. First off, I picked Torchic and name it Bakugo, aka King Explosion Murder, and if you can guess the nicknaming theme, let me know in the comments down below. On our way to fight May, Torchic explodes a lot, which is really annoying because it's our only Pokemon on the team and causes us to just white out and go back home every single time. I'm also enacting a cool Pokemon only rule, so the first cool Pokemon I catch is Lotad, which I always catch in Emerald version, and name it Fiesta. That makes our team of Bakugo the Torchic and Fiesta the Lotad. If you're still trying to figure out the nicknaming theme, well, too bad there isn't one, get wrecked bozo. Lotad evolves before Roxanne's Rock-type gym, and being that they're Rock types, I don't think Explosion will help us very much. Lombre is able to get down to her Nose Pass, then our Lombre explodes and doesn't knock out Nose Pass as Torchic just falls, so we have to try again against Roxanne. This time we get no explosions and Lombre just sweeps. Rather uneventful, but the impending fear of knowing that any of my Pokemon can just randomly explode at any moment is still frightening and only gets scarier the farther we go on in this game. It's almost as scary as browsing the internet without being secure, so that's where Surfshark VPN, the sponsors for today's video, are here to help. Surfshark VPN keeps your online information like your passwords safe and encrypted from potential hackers or cyber criminals. It can help protect you on sketchy public Wi-Fis as well, and Surfshark's Clean Web feature can block intrusive ads or trackers, fight against malware or phishing attempts, and allow you to access the internet in a much safer way. You can even use it to change your virtual location to other countries to access their Netflix libraries, since if you didn't know, Netflix and other streaming services have different libraries in other countries, and there's a good chance a show or movie you want to watch isn't available in your country but it's available somewhere else. It can also be used to help stop ISPs from throttling your internet data. Surfshark offers some additional products too, like Alert to monitor your personal information and let you know about potential data breaches online, and a full antivirus program to keep you even more protected. Use code PaPaSea with the link in the description to get an extra 3 months free of Surfshark VPN. They even offer a 30-day back money guarantee, so there's no risk. Check them out in the description today, and thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. In Dewford, I caught a Zubat and named it Koga. I'm tired of this narrative that Zubats are bad or annoying because I think they're pretty cool. I also thought it would be good for Brawly's gym, but it doesn't learn a flying move until level 21, and Brawly's ace is only level 19. So what's up with that? I even replaced the Zubat pretty shortly after this because I just don't end up needing it. I do though take some time to study and train for the optimal Brawly strategy, so we go in there and decide to, oh just kidding, my Combuskin just immediately exploded, but at least took down his Machop too. I just go into Fiesta, and then we slowly white out. On attempt 2, we Ember the Machop as he bulk ups, but then we explode on the following turn, which I guess was pretty nice. Lombre is at least able to take out Meditite, since it just goes for Focus Punches, then on Makuhita we explode and knock it out because we had an extra Pokemon in the back in Zubat. Now that I'm thinking about it, in some situations, like this one, Explosion just helps us since we wouldn't have one-shot Makuhita either way, so I guess I'll take it. Now that we're in Slate 4, we can see our real rival in the seashore house on the beach. This guy calls himself Mr. C. Who the hell does he think he is? The best part about Slateport City is we can finally catch Gulpin, another cool Pokemon that happens to be one of my favorite Pokemon along with its evolution, Swalot, and no, this isn't some sort of your mom joke or anything like that, I just really like these Pokemon and even have plushes of them. We have to fight May here as well, who leads with Lombre, so we have an honor battle with our Lombre too. We have a level on it and get a fake out off before trading nature powers. They turn to Swifts in this area, which isn't too bad, and eventually our nature powers just take it out. And the rest of our team was just weak to Lombre or Combuskin, so we get through her with no explosions somehow. Once in Mauville, we stomp Wally, then get ready to fight Watson. I try to fight him a few times and really struggle, partly because we can't hit his team all that hard, and partly because, well, you know, my Pokemon just keep randomly exploding, causing us to white out. I then enact a plan of just catching more Pokemon to use as explosion insurance. We're literally just sending them out in battle to die to an explosion, which is kind of messed up. So I catch an Oddish and a Marill which evolve, and then level them up and lead with Lombre against his Voltorb in Watson's gym. This time Voltorb self-destructs and turns the tables on us, then Gloom explodes on his Electrike as Combuskin takes out Magneton, then the combo of Gulpin and Azumarill are enough to finish off his Manectric. That was quite an annoying fight, but now we can go up north and catch a Slugma. I don't see Slugma used too much in any Pokemon game really, and even though it is a Generation 2 Pokemon, a lot of people confuse it for a Generation 3 Pokemon because you can't find it until very late in the game in the Gen 2 games. It also just looks kinda funny. Now we have a long trek to Fall River Town to save Professor Cosmo, clear out Team Magma at a volcano, evolve Gulpin into Swalot, and fight Flannery's Fire-type Pokemon gym. We have a couple of Water types to douse this gym, so it was rather uneventful, but her Torkoal set up the sun to live some hits, and she kept using potions, but that just gave us more turns to fish out an explosion, which ended up winning the battle. So good job Azumarill exploding all over this Torkoal. That didn't sound as weird when I wrote it, I swear, but saying it out loud, I'm so sorry. There isn't much of a gap between Flannery and the Norman gym, so we go right to Petalburg City to fight him for the 5th gym badge. Combusken has double kick for his normal type foes, so we can hammer away at them with that until it falls. So we go into Slugma on Linoon and randomly explode, then Swalot just randomly explodes on Slacking on the next turn. Nice. This gym can be quite a hassle with the Slackings, but if we just explode and take out the Slacking before it does anything to us, it becomes a lot easier. After some more boring story stuff in this game and a stop at the Weather Institute, we make our way to Fort Tree City. Do you guys know why they call it Fort Tree City? You'll never guess, but it's because of all of these trees with forts in them. Since we're in the later half of this game, it always annoyed me how you can't get a Water Stone until even later on in the game, which is needed to evolve Lombre into Ludicolo. I'm pretty sure you can't actually obtain one until after the 7th, maybe even 8th gym leader, which is pretty annoying. I can't think of a cooler Pokemon in this game than Ludicolo though, so I do the only logical thing, which is to write a letter to the Pokemart headquarters, asking them very nicely to stock Water Stones in the mart. And look at that, the mart in Fort Tree City happens to have Water Stones the next day, so we buy one and use it to evolve Lombre into Ludicolo. Then in our very first battle with our new Ludicolo, it immediately explodes. Fantastic start Ludicolo, and welcome to the team. After that, I start heading to Lily Cove City, completely forgetting about Winona's gym in Fort Tree City because nobody ever remembers Winona, so we head back to fight her and I waste about 30 minutes doing so in the process. 2 Body Slams from Swalot take out her lead Swablu, then on Altaria we take an Earthquake and then Body Slam for barely any damage. We take another hit as I just Toxic and switch to Ludicolo to take it out. We eventually fall to Dragon Breaths, so I go to Azumarill and try to set up some rollouts, but also fall to Dragon Breath. I go to Combusken on her Tropius, but Combusken just dies, nice try. Then Slugma takes out Tropius. I heal up Swalot so we can Body Slam the Pelipper, but just kidding, we explode instead and take out Skarmory with 2 Surfs thanks to a crit. Weird battle bailed out by an explosion, but I guess we'll take it. At this point I realize our team is kind of bad, hot dog water even as the kids would say, so I upgrade it by catching a Swablu and getting a ton of TMs from the game corner by winning a lot in the slot machine and definitely not cheating. For the next Team Aqua and Team Magma stuff, we see this idiot use the blue orb for the red Pokemon as if he didn't see that coming, then clear out the Team Aqua hideout as well, where Slugma finally evolves to Macargo. We can ignore the weird evil team stuff for now and head into Moss Deep City to fight Tate and Liza, who have one of my least favorite Pokemon ever in Claydol. If you know, you know. They lead with Xatu and Claydol, so I go with Ludicolo and Altaria, which have Surf and Ice Beam respectively to hit them very hard. Altaria has other plans though and just decides to explode, which I guess is fine, but it crits our own Ludicolo to knock it out, also crits the Claydol, and then just knocks out Xatu to completely wipe the field. The rest of our team can barely hit Solrock and Lunatone that hard though, and since they're both rock types and can set up Reflects and Calm Minds, they can also potentially take explosions. We do manage to go back and forth a lot to a point where I revive Ludicolo and have it in a 1v1 against Lunatone that I think we can win, but Ludicolo explodes instead, taking down the Lunatone, but since it exploded, it also faints and we lose the battle. On the second attempt, Xatu confuses Altaria first, but we still land our hits and knock it out. In comes Lunatone, so we focus down the Claydol, leaving just the sun and the moon now. Sunny Day makes our Surfs do a lot less damage now, but we keep on hammering away with whatever moves we can get away with to slowly chip away at their Pokemon, bait out all their potions, then get destroyed by Lunatone because it set up too many Calm Minds and one-shot everything with Psychic. On the third try, I lead with the Azumarill instead of Ludicolo and target down the Claydol first. After it falls, Lunatone comes in, and Azumarill explodes the entire field and takes everything out, or so I thought, but Lunatone lives with just 1 HP remaining. I go into Ludicolo and Swalot next, as Lunatone eats its berry to put it just out of potion range. We then miss a Toxic, and then miss the knockout of Lunatone, so they do use a potion, as Swalot falls and we take out the Solrock. We only have Ludicolo and Macargo left, so we Surf as the light screen goes away, and finally knock out Lunatone for our 7th gym badge. This gym always gives me trouble for some reason, and I'm just glad we can finally move past it now. Next we clear out Team Magma from the Space Center with some help from Steven and some explosions, and now we have Dive so we can catch another cool Pokemon in Chinchou. It's electric and water type, and I always thought it was cool, especially since it's not too common in the games it appears in, and Lantern is deceptively strong. I named it Cheetah, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess I just wanted cheetahs at the time. But now we can go to Sootopolis City. We have a lot of more story and lore stuff to do here, with Groudon and Kyogre fighting, and then Rayquaza who breaks them up, putting all of the story stuff to the side, so we can now just focus on the last gym and the Elite Four. In the 8th gym against Juan, he leads with Love Disc, which is probably the worst Pokemon for any 8th gym leader to have, but it does have Sweet Kiss to confuse us. Lantern breaks through though and lands a Thunderbolt to knock it out, and then in comes Whiscash, a very cool Pokemon that I didn't get a chance to use in this run, but it's a ground type Pokemon, so we go to Ludicolo. He sets up Amnesia to boost his special defense, so Absorb does nothing. I don't know how we made it this far and still only have Absorb as our best grass type move, but since the rain is up we go for Surf, which has more damage to take out Whiscash, but instead it just explodes and takes itself down with Whiscash. I then go back into Cheeto on Celio and Thunderbolt it to narrowly miss the knockout. We take a Body Slam as Juan potions up, then we get a crit on the next turn to just knock it out anyway. Juan sends out Crawdaunt next, and we probably can take it out with a Thunderbolt, but we just explode, which works too. All Juan has left now is Kingdra, so I go to Swallow to try to land a Toxic, but I accidentally click Strength first. Kingdra then double teams as I Sludge, but we get the poison off Sludge anyway, which works out well to take out Kingdra for our last gym badge. In the Victory Road, we have to fight Wally and have an Altaria honor battle, but ours has Ice Beam and we have a few levels on his whole team, so along with a couple of explosions, we get through him pretty easily. First, in the Elite Four, we have Sydney with his haircut, or lack thereof, who leads with Cacturne. I lied, he actually leads with Mightyena. I wrote Cacturne instead of by accident, but I don't want to change it, but writing this out is longer than just changing it anyway. But we lead with Blaziken and knock out Mightyena, then in comes Shiftry. Shiftry is also weak to Blaziken and gets one-shotted. Then in comes Absol, and wow, look at that, Blaze Kick one-shots it as well. On Crawdon, I switch to Whiscash as he Swords Dances. We outspeed and Thunderbolt to knock it out. Last up is Cacturne, he didn't lead with it after all, so I go into Magcargo since we've barely used it. He Cotton Sports to lower our speed, which does nothing really. Then Leech Seeds, which also does nothing as we go for Flamethrower to knock it out in one hit, allowing us to move on to Phoebe's Ghost-type Pokemon. Our explosions are useless against her Ghost types, so hopefully we don't randomly explode in this fight. Her Dusclops just skillfully double protects though, as Thunderbolt then gets the Paralyze and two-shots Dusclops. She sends out her second Dusclop next, as we Surf and do barely any damage. Earthquake does a lot to us too, but I just stay in and Surf, then fall to a second Earthquake. Ludicolo comes in and gets a critical to take it out at least, then in comes Banette. It goes down to 2 Surfs after grudging us, then she sends out Sableye. We have to go for Ice Beam since we're low on Surf PP after the grudge, but it isn't enough to 2-shot, and then I realized we could just Waterfall to do more damage, so I go for that and knock it out with a critical hit. I feel like we've gotten a lot of critical hits in this run, but I'll take it. The second Banette lives a hit and knocks out Ludicolo, but Blaziken can come in and finish it off with an Ember. Not sure why we still have Ember this late in the game, but it worked out against Phoebe. Then before fighting Glacia, I noticed that our Lantern has Pokers, which is kind of cool, although it doesn't really mean anything right now, but we do lead with it against Celio. Thunderbolt gets a critical hit to knock it out, then Glalie comes in and crunches for minimal damage, and of course lives with like 1 HP after 2 hits, which keeps happening to us. And then she just didn't heal and goes for Double Edge to knock herself out with Recoil, which is kinda strange. On the second Celio, we can 2-shot it after it sets up the Hail though. Her next Glalie then falls to a Blaze Kick, then on a Wall Raid we go to Swallow to try to Toxic it, but we just explode instead to take it out faster, and that's like the 3rd time that happened where I try to Toxic something and we just explode instead. Then for Drake's Dragon-type team, we have 2 different Pokemon with Ice Beam, and all he has is Dragons, so that takes care of most of his team pretty easily, although his Kingdra was a bit annoying having Smokescreen and Double Team or whatever, and Kingdras in general are just annoying. And finally we have the champion, Wallace. I still don't really know why they swapped out Steven for Wallace, but whatever. He leads with your mom, or rather a Wailord, which Lantern can Thunderbolt. It doesn't get the one-shot though, so I Thunderbolt again, as Wallace switches to Whiscash to completely outplay us. I go into Ludicolo to absorb, but we just explode instead, which works out too I guess, and then go into Lantern to knock out his Gyarados. When he sends out Wailord again, I go to Altaria and just explode. Then Lantern takes out his Tentacruel as well, and all that leaves now is his ace Pokemon, Milotic. I really want to end this with a random explosion, so I spam Surf, which does very little damage to Milotic, but can hopefully fish out an explosion. And then when we finally explode, we don't even knock out Milotic, so I just go into Ludicolo to knock out Milotic the normal way by going for a regular move, but Ludicolo got the memo and randomly explodes to knock out Milotic. And then of course, finish off the run with a bang. Kind of a weird run, and probably a weirder video, since this was literally just a vanilla playthrough with a 1 in 10 chance of our Pokemon randomly exploding, but it was fun knowing that at any moment we could just die. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Check them out in the description, and I hope you enjoyed the video too. If you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Thanks for watching, have a great rest of your day, and bye bye.